Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear audience and honorable class teacher, first take my salam. Assalamu alaikum. It gives me quite pleasure to welcome you all on our presentation. Today, our presentation will a group presentation and that is about project presentation on standardization of sodium hydroxylic solution with standard acetic acid solution. Here our lecturer is Ms. Nusrat Jahan Moshumi. Our presentation will be 20 to 30 minutes long. While it's a recorded presentation, so do you have any question, you can ask at the comment box or email, and we will definitely answer of your query. Here we have some group members in today's presentation, and they will also introduce themselves one by one with their topic. This is Afsari Sultana, one of them. Here we have the content all over the presentation, that is history of titration and applications, apparatus and chemical reagents, preparation of solid to solution, procedure of titration, indicator process and working procedure, and finally have discussion. What we have in details on step by step. So at this moment, I finished our introductory part. Now I am going to the start my presentation topic and moving on my next slide. Can you see a reaction on the screen? Well, the reaction on the screen is basically a reaction caused by acid and base. The result of acid-base reaction is salt and water, that is called acid-base reaction, and under the process of reaction is called acid-base titration. It's a matter of knowing that a titration is a technique where a solution of known concentration is used to determine the concentration of unknown solution. That means titration basically held with a known concentration to find a unknown concentration. Now I am going to my next slide. On the slide, we can see a gentleman who is known as the father of titration, named Francois Antoine Henri Descourgillis. Actually, many scientists contributed to the development of titration, but he is developed the first burette in 1791. So he credited with titration discovery. The word titration comes from the Latin word titulus, meaning inscription or title. Titration has many advantages, whereas disadvantages. The advantages are easy to be used, cheap and durable. It can be used for determination of pH of volatile acids. Again, disadvantages, it cannot be used in presence of oxidizing or reducing agents, and cannot be used in presence of noble metal, which will be displayed by antimony, etc. The purpose of the titration is the detection of the equivalence point, the point at which chemically equivalent amounts of the reactants have been mixed. Some use of application of a titration process is that food industry, cosmetics industry, pharmaceutical industry, wine industry, etc. At this moment, I am running to the last stage on my topic. A lots of thanks to you all to giving me the place for represent some information. I'm going to request my next group member to continue the presentation. May you be in good health. Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Sultana. Thank you for giving me. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I am Muhammad Rashidul Islam. This is such an honor and privilege that I have come here to deliver my presentation before such a beautiful audience. So, well, my today's topic is apparatus and chemical reagent, and I am very excited to shed light on this topic. I want to say at the beginning, we will discuss the tools that are needed to experiment in a chemical laboratory. We'll only discuss the apparatus we need in this acidic base titration. These include volumetric flux, pipette, conical flux, burette, stunt, etc. First, I can see that volumetric flux picture. The volumetric flux are used for precise dilution and preparation of standard solutions. These flux are usually pear-shaped with a flat bottom and made of glass or plastic. The neck of volumetric fluxes is elongate and narrow with an east being graduation marking. The second picture is a pipette. The pipette is a conical tube with two open mouths. Its two ends are certainly turned into narrow tubes. The one end of the narrow tube is redesigned. The result is a thick tube, light, but in the middle it is called the bulb. The upper part of the bulb is surrounded by the red mark. This stain indicates a certain size volume. Next picture is the conical flux. The figures show that the lower part of the conical flux is thick and the bottom is flat. The upper part is relatively narrow. The titration reaction of volumetric analysis is caused by the conical flux. It usually has a volume of 250 ml. However, the conical flux of the different sizes, large and small, are able if required. Below the picture, the burette. The burette is a device made of thick glass tube of equal diameter. The tube is open one way. The U1 own face is very narrow. The stopcock is applied to the narrow face. The fall of the solution from the burette is controlled by the stopcock. The burettes are usually 20 centimeter tube and 50 centimeter tube in size. Burette is divided into 25 or 50 parts. Here, another figure is stunt. The function of this stunt is that when the titration is done, the solution falls from the burette into the conical flux and the stunt is used to hold the burette in its place. Next slide, please. I will know the name of the chemical reagent that will be used in this experiment. And we will now discuss the nature of them. Here, the first point is sodium hydroxide. This is a strong base. So we need to standardization it. At second point is given the acidic compound, which is an weak acid. In this experiment, it will remain as a standard substance. because we know its concentration. And finally, and third point is phenolphthalein. It is an indicator. It is used to find the end point of titration. That's all for today. Thank you for Thank you all for hearing me with patience. Now, I'd like to call upon Mr. Rafiul Islam to present the next section of the presentation.
Thank you, Rashid, for calling me. Assalamu alaikum, dear friends and honorable teacher. This is Rafiul Islam, Department of AAA at Green University of Bangladesh. Here, I would like to talk about dilution of acetic acid solution from solid. Most of the time, we found acetic acid in liquid condition, but here we consider acetic acid as a glacier solid condition. We know that is very impossible to do titration in this condition. That's why first of all we have to dilute the solution from solid to liquid. Dilution is the process of decreasing the concentration of solute in the solution by adding a more solvent. To dilute a solution, we add more solvent without the addition of more solute. Let's learn how to dilute acetic acid. At the beginning, we need to know a molecular weight of acetic acid, which is 60 gram per mole. Then we need to take a volumetric flux, which can be 100 ml, 200 ml, or 500 ml. Now put the solid of acetic acid in the volumetric flux with distilled water. Shake the solution for some time. Then fill the volumetric flux with distilled water to the calibration mark. This our ultimate solution for doing titration sodium hydroxide with acetic acid. Thank you all having with me with your time and interest. Now I would like to invite Mr. Ahanaf Ahmed. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thanks for calling me, Mr. Rafiul Islam. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good evening to you all. At the very beginning of my speech, it gives me immense pleasure to take chance to deliver my speech. However, before I start, let me introduce myself. This is Ahanaf Ahmed here. I study at Green University of Bangladesh in the Department of Tripoli. Basically, in this segment, I'm going to discuss on titration procedure. My previous group member discussed all constructional part, and Mr. Rafiul Islam discussed the preparation of acetic acid, and we got prepared an acetic acid solution. Now, actually, as you can see in the slide, we have taken the prepared acetic acid in a burette. From the volumetric flux and in a conical flux, taken sodium hydroxide and also taken indicator. And when we rotate the burette knob, then the acid fall dropwise in the conical flux. This is how we will continue to add acid in the form of drops, and at same time and same point the color will change from pink to colorless for an indicator, and this is the end point, or also called the equivalent point. Ultimately, these things happen when all hydrogen ion and hydroxide ion react each other and produce water rapidly. And when not a single hydrogen ion and hydroxide ion are present over there, then it becomes colorless. And this is the overview of titration process. For audience better understand, I am showing here the reaction of this titration process. That's all for the time being. Thank you for your attention, and I'm really grateful for your patience. Thanks once again. Now I would like to call Miss Jannatul Firdaus Mishu. Please welcome and let's continue your topic. Jannat, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thanks, Ahanaf,
Please
for
continue.
calling me. This is Jannatul Firdaus Mishu. I would like to discuss about the indicator and how to how it works in this reaction. Here is my presentation. Basically, in an base titration, here is an important as of indicators. An indicator is a chemical substance that detects the equivalent point or the end point of reaction by changing its color. Altogether, we have almost 9 acid-base indicators which indicate the end point of a reaction. In this acid-base reaction, we use phenolphthalein indicator and its pH level is 8.2 to 9.8. In this reaction, we combine the indicator with sodium hydroxide, then show in color, and when titration will be going on, and at last the color become colorless. And at that time, pH is below in the 8.2 to 9.8 range. This is how the indicator works actually. Thank you all for your attention with patience and time. Now I would like to invite Saiful for continuing. Saiful,
Thank
can you
you.
hear me?
Yeah, thank you, Jannat, for calling me. It's matter of sorrow that I cannot say hello to my friends and my beloved teacher because of recorded presentation. But I hope that all of you are in good health. Especially, I want to thanks to ma'am for giving us a very interesting topic is acid phase. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about some questions when we used to do reaction in lab with acid phase. So before discussing about this, let's introduce myself. I'm Saiful Islam from the Department of Tripoli. So let's enter our discussions. In this experiment, we did a reaction between sodium hydroxide and acetic acid, where sodium hydroxide are very hazardous in case of skin contact, eye contact, and inhalation. Even it can damage our corneal of our eyes or blindness and can produce inflammation and blistering. During acid-base reaction that include the production of a large amount of heat, liquid materials can be spluttered, even possibly the production of steam explosions like boom. By the way, if there are any explosion, hydrogen gases and toxic gases can be tracked around our environment. To do any experiment, we need to remember some important things. This, we should always rinse the borate with the solution which is to be taken in it. Every time we should remove the funnel from the borate before nothing the readings of the borate and ensure that no drop is hanging from the nozzle of the borate. When we want to note the borate readings, we should place the eye exactly at the level of the meniscus because it is very difficult to determine the endpoint accurately. This is the main and one of the reasons of the error. And that's why always we need to keep the lower end of the pipette dipped in the liquid while sucking the liquid. If we want to avoid this kind of error, we can deviate the measured value from the actual value. At the last time, when calculating the strength of the solution, we must calculate up to the 4th decimal place. So these all are the questions we should remember during acid-base titration or reaction. because they can be dangerous. Since the presentation is recorded, there is no direct question session. So thank you so much, ma'am, for spending your valuable time to hear our presentation with deep concentration. Have a good day. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.